Put down your phone. Stop refreshing it. Put down your phone. Thank you. It's gonna be okay. Now, I know that we're all a little nervous. I get that. I do. But we can't focus on things all of the time. Now, it hurts a lot losing family and friends to bigotry. I know that it hurts a lot. Losing people that way is one of the worst ways to lose someone. Because it means that, did they ever care about you in the first place? Maybe yes, maybe no. But did they care about you as their friend? As a person? Or as a concept? Were there parts of you that they had to disregard? Or had to sidestep around in their brains in order to care about you? Was caring about you work? I've lost a few people that way this year, and I know all of us probably have, with protests and the advancements and the activism and the election and the Nazis. I know a lot of us have lost people that way in the last few years. And I know that it hurts a lot. But at the end of the day, you didn't lose someone because of a quality you had. It is not a quality that's your fault. Whatever it is, it's not something you can control, whatever it is. It's not something you can change about yourself. You can't change your identity. You can't change who you love. You can't change the color of your skin or where you're from. You can't change those things. You can't magically make them better for your conservative friends. You can't always meet them in the middle. And I say this, I am friends, libertarians. I have been friends, I live in the South. Not all of my friends can be liberal. I don't have that many choices, Well, that sounded a little rude, but I'm not saying that you have to be friends with everyone someone who believes in every single thing you do. But there is a line that's crossed where it goes from someone believes in things you disagree with, and someone believes that you, their friend, don't deserve respect as a human being. And I know that it hurts to lose someone that way, and that we don't want to cut off relationships. But at the end of the day, being friends with someone who doesn't believe you deserve basic human respect isn't healthy. That's not a friendship that you can maintain on stable, even footing. There's always going to be that disbalance, that part where you know that they're putting in mental work to justify being your friend, and you're putting in mental work justifying why you're near someone who believes in people who want to hurt you, or who don't want you to have citizenship, or people who would rather you be dead. Listen, you can't maintain a relationship like that. There comes a point where politics matter. So, if you've lost a friend like that in the last few days, the last few months, the last few years, I'm with you. But personally, I think it's for the best. I just want to say that even after this election, if things go badly, things will probably be a little unsafe for a while, or forever. We don't know, but we're not going to catastrophize. Even though last time we weren't really catastrophizing, but we're going to think positively, which is a workout for me. I am not Joel on No News, which comes on at 10 a.m. on Fridays. Haha. Front plug. I have to work very hard to be positive about things, because the only reason I am alive is because I am too angry to die. And I am aware that that is the way a lot of us survive, and I know that a lot of us are feeling the nihilism in the last few since, I want to say February. But I am not a nihilist. I am a cynic. And even though we don't know whether or not he was queer, he was a pretty bomb dude, so I'm going to tell you about Diogenes. Diogenes lived in the same century as Aristotle. So I'm going to say he lived in the 3rd century. He was a Greek. He grew up, reasonably rich until he was found to be counterfeiting coins from the bank in Athens. So he was kicked out of Athens. And he said, you know what? Screw this. I'm kicked out of Athens. Material wealth is a farce. Society is a fraud. Everything's a lie. I don't care. He forsake all of his earthly possessions. And he lived basically as a monk in a giant barrel in the street in Thebes, I believe. He lived in the street in Thebes. He believed that humanity ought to live, the example he used was the dog, which is ought to live with only, cares about the self and others, and without the burdens of the care society projects onto us. Basically, he believed that society, as a whole, was a performance that we put on, and oftentimes the performance is an elaborate lie. And you must understand that the reason he believed these things is because he grew up in the ancient Athenian Empire, which is the cradle of modern capitalism, as well as modern democracy, although barely. And he essentially believed that the only true way to live would be to live separate from the performance of society, which is not something we can do in practice. However, we can practice the idea of honesty with one another. We can practice the ideas of communication and the ideas of straightforwardness and honesty with the self, which are all things that those are the core of his beliefs. Now, if you want to live minimally and only use what you need, those are also cores of his beliefs. I don't necessarily, because I like being surrounded by horrible little things. And I believe in modern toilets, which is not something he had access to. And I do believe that his beliefs would be a little bit different if he had access to the modern hot shower and flush toilet. However, in the coming weeks, I feel like that's something we need to practice, is honesty to the self, honesty to others, and belief that who we are as people is separate than what we are expected to perform. Well, I personally hate the old adage that we will persevere, that we will, make it out of this, that, they can't kill us all. I hate that. I hate it. Because it implies that some of us are expendable. It implies that we, as a community, as people, should have to live with the collateral damage of what other people do to us. I hate it because it implies that we must accept what we have. It implies that we must accept that things will not get better. It implies that we, as a community, as people who live and love as ourselves and love others, should accept that we will be punished, irregardless of what we do, because we are at the whims and whimsy of those who do not care about us. I hate it. I think it's the stupidest thing anyone has ever said. I think it's something a straight person said to us once, and then we forgot a straight person said it, and yes, I mean that wholeheartedly. I hate it. But I do think we will make it. I do think so. I know that we will make it. Because we're not something that can just be yeeted into the dark, We're not something that can just be killed off one by one. It takes work. It takes a lot of work to keep communities going, but during the AIDS epidemic, one of the things that kept queer communities going as people died around them, as funerals were held every day, as people passed away in their arms and died in the street in protest, one of the things that kept people going was radio stations. During the epidemic, radio stations, queer radio stations, became center points of their communities. They sprung up across the United States. Many of them aren't here anymore, but a few of them are, and there are some new ones hanging around as well. And they were the only places where you can get accurate news, where you could hear from people like you, where you could hear without the bias of people who secretly or openly thought you would be better off dead. And it it took a lot of work to keep those radio stations running. It took a lot of work to keep the DJs and the staff and producers safe. It took a lot of work to get money coming in, to keep money coming in, to keep the place running. It did. And it's going to take a lot of work to get back to where we were, regardless of what happens tonight. Or tomorrow, or this weekend, whenever we know, regardless. It is going to take a lot of work. But it always takes a lot of work. And that's okay. Because we will be here to do the work. I'm going to get out of here in a minute, but I am going to say that I hope all of you are taking the time to cope. I hope you are with friends, and I hope if you can't be with friends that you are at least talking to your friends. And I hope that you know that this isn't the time where you have to confront people. The work does not have to start today. It is okay to take the day to breathe and to wait. It is okay to take the week to breathe and wait. It's okay to take the time to mourn if the bad thing happens. It's okay to just wait. To put down the phone, to stop refreshing, to stop giving yourself anxiety. It's okay. By the time I come back, we'll know the results, because I won't be coming back in till Monday. And I hope that I can come back to you with good news. And if I can't, then we'll be here to do the work.